MPs are voting this week on the plan to remove 92 hereditary peers. It's a key manifesto commitment from Labour's election plan. Could mean the biggest shake-up of Parliament in a quarter of a century. Now, let's have a look at the numbers, OK? China has the largest parliament in the world. 3,000 here in the Chinese National People's Congress. 3,000, right? Isn't that amazing? If you go down the other end, you're looking for world record parliaments. We end up in the tiny state of Micronesia, which is several hundred very small islands just north of Australia. So that's Micronesia there. Can you see? So we think 607 small islands, 100,000 population, 14 people in their parliament. That's tidy. Now we come to the Lords. And the Lords is packed to bursting. It's had more in the past, had about 1,000 in the past. It is now on, I think it is 804. And if you look at the Lords number and the China number, you say, well, actually, they're not doing too badly. But I want to show you a calculation which I made last night. So let's look up the China population, which is 1.4 billion. And then I think we should look up the UK's population as well. And we are, let's have a look, we're nearly 67. There we are, 67 million, so much smaller. Okay. Now we ask ourselves the question, how many Lords do we have per person in Britain? So divide 67 million by 804, the number in the House of Lords, and you find every 83,000 people has a Lord. One Lord for every 83,000. What would happen if we took that to China? So what if they had one Congress person for every 83,000 Chinese? Let's look. So 1.4 billion, divide it by 83,000. The size of their Congress would be 16,800, right? I said to AI, show me China's Congress with 16,800, and that's what they show me. That's essentially what would happen if you take the House of Lords madness to China. And that's why people are saying, we can't go on like this, Christian.
Well, I think there's a very different role between the Lords and other legislative chambers, which is that the Lords has a lot of people, many of whom are experts in certain fields and are in a sense part-time and do the job of being a peer alongside a full-time job in an external industry, which means that, you know, the benches aren't packed. They're not always there debating. And I think that the country is all the better for the House of Lords. And I think
with that number of members, I mean, you say people who don't turn up all the time. There was a couple of years ago, they revealed £500,000 in expenses had been paid out to Lords who hadn't made a single speech.
Yeah, and I think, don't mistake me for someone who doesn't believe in reform.
Hereditary is the key.
Well, hereditary, I disagree with removing. I think it stinks of a classic Labour tactic, which is, you know, where you're not entirely confident that you're going to have much to show for your time in power. You tinker with the Constitution in the name of representation or equality, and it's classic Blairism.
What do you think? Let's get Jemma on the hereditaries. 92. So we got rid of the people who were in the Lords because their father or grandfather was. We got rid of all but 92 of them. God knows why they didn't do the last 92. I think it was a compromise.
Yeah.
But they are now saying they're going to get rid of the last 92. Should they be doing it?
Yes, 100%. It's not just fiddling around. It's making a really sensible, modern decision. Why should anybody, just because they've been born, be entitled to walk into the House of Lords as and when they feel like it, have a big lunch that they can expense, and get, by the way, £342 for a day at a time when pensioners like the ones that we've just been speaking to are really worried about losing their winter fuel allowance. And actually, for the record, I think Labour should transfer all of this money straight to pensioners. Would make sense. And I'm sorry, this is so archaic and so old-fashioned, and it goes back to hundreds and hundreds of years ago when the Lord of the Manor was the Lord of the Manor because they had a horse and they had loads of money and everybody else was peasants and serfs. It is a joke.
I could see the argument against electing the House of Lords because we've run out of good people to elect in this country. But the argument for putting people in because, as Jemma says, their great-great-grandfather had an affair with Henry VIII's horse.
Yeah. Look, I detest the word modern. I think it's a pejorative, if anything. But look, you combine the sense of tradition, and I'm very proud of Britain its traditions,
Oh,
and I
don't
think
forget
they
on
make
the
us
old
unique.
patriotic thing. I'm patriotic.
But I also
too. It doesn't
think
mean
that
something
what are
isn't
we going
right.
to do, right? We're going to lose 90 odd independent-minded peers. We're going to carry on appointing party political apparatchiks, right? The House of Lords is going to become a building full of former MPs, partisan advisors. Actually, I like the idea that there is a wedge in the House of Lords which is totally unaligned, that has a
they're not.
historic knowledge of the
Wedge.
country
All
and its
right. Well,
problems
we're
going back.
do we need the... Let's just get a call. Jeff from Brighton. Hi, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning,
Good morning. Would you just... You'd think it was simple, this axe the hereditary peers, but it causes a big argument, as you can hear.
It's not just the hereditary peers. We need to get rid of it in its entirety.
OK.
I
Get
disagree
rid
with
of the
that.
House of Lords as it is. We'll have an elected second chamber.
Oh, really? How many elections
Yes.
do you want? It's like Brenda from Bristol. Another one? Another one?
Yes, Jeremy. We need an elected second house.
Oh, OK. Gemma, what would you go for that? Elected?
I'm not sure. I mean,
Baroness Moan.
there are some absolutely fantastic people in there holding
Melvin
the
Bragg.
other chamber to account. Well, I would say Saeed Avasi,
Yeah.
Jenny Jones from the Green Party, who's like
Paul
a
Dubs.
dynamo. There are plenty of people. And there
It's
are
true.
also, I went for a visit there, a lot of people who are probably the hereditary ones. They're there
You're
for
about to
lunch.
use the word cognitive.
Well, you know, just I think
Yeah,
the
they're of
good
an
thing
age.
about the ones that are put in there that have got a business or you know, they take it much more seriously. The
Charities.
record shows that they
See,
turn
I think
up and
let's
they
take
earn
someone
their
like...
money.
Here's an example we could probably agree on. Robert Winston, who's the great fertility expert, is not going to stand for election.
No.
Right? He's too busy.
No.
Yeah.
But you get him
But
in,
if you
whether or not you
Great
agree with him,
knowledge.
you get him because he's got
Exactly.
great knowledge. Jeff, wouldn't we lose the really knowledgeable people if we had it down to elections?
Absolutely not.
Not.
Why is it the belief that people in the rank and file, people in working class houses,
Yeah.
are not fit to debate and elect and vote on issues in the, well, what would be the Senate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. No, get your point, Jeff. Thank you. Thanks so much.
I just think, look at America, right? Look what happens when you have two democratic chambers, both of which have a mandate from the people. It clogs the system
Yeah.
up. You end up with the Commons fighting with the Senate or the Lords or whatever you call it. You get gridlock, and I just think that would be a disaster for faith in politics if even less worked in our democracy.
Okay.
That would be...
Miles, I'll come to you in a sec, Jim, I promise. Miles in Lincolnshire, hi.
Hi there. What I was thinking about was do away with the House of Lords and set up a committee from different areas of the House of Lords. People who's done industry, worked in as a solicitors and things like that. And then it would move along quite easily. You don't need 600 or 800 house
800,
from the House of Lords. It's ridiculous.
Gemma.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I think there's definitely something in the fact that if you had people representing education who'd been head teachers, if you had people from, representing healthcare who were surgeons, nurses, I think that would make more sense. And in fact, I think those people, you need to have a representative potentially in the House of Commons as well, who actually understand at a grassroots level what's going on.
Angela in Merseyside, hello.
Hi, Jeremy. Good
Hello.
morning,
So,
everyone.
what do you think? No one's speaking up for the hereditary peers except for Christian.
Well, really, the House of Lords as it is standing, I'd like to know why we don't have a retirement age in the House of Lords. Because some
They
of them
do.
there really should be retired.
Well, I think they do,
Also,
you know.
the
I think because I saw Lord Archer the other day, and he said when you get to 80, you then almost cease to be a member. You can go in.
They still are shuffling in.
You can work for as long as you like, and of course, Angela, it's something that Labour are proposing, but it's something I would very much disagree with because actually, if you look at it's a bad metric because there are lots of old members of the House of Lords. I was saying Lord Dubs is one of the world leaders on refugee policy,
Oh, yes.
right? He was a
Alf
child
Dubs.
refugee himself. He's about 90 years old and he's active in the House of Lords. Now, Labour would have him retired, but they would carry on having it filled with
Charlotte Owen.
Angelo, anything else quickly, Angela, before so we've got to go to our break. Anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I would like to say that is an area that Labour should have looked at before they took the money off the pensioners straight away.
Well, we're back where we started. Yeah, it's like the old poem. Thank you. Later.